And not just a process change, although a process change might be important. So I don't want to diminish that. I mean, one of the things we try to do in this book is, in fact, I'm going to jump ahead because in the interest of time, we're not going to be able to get through all of these, but one of them is about frameworks where, frameworks are not bad. There's nothing really wrong with them. They're useful many times. They need to be taken into an organization and adapted given the context of that organization and the culture, and like I move around sometimes and will coach, an individual team for a period and then move with another team. And very often the people in the new team will say, well, what are the best practices? Tell me what to do. Like they want me to give them a checklist. And I say, well, let's take a look at the type of work that you're doing and what are your goals and what are your OKRs and what are you trying to accomplish? And then let's think about what's going to work for you, because what's going to work well for a team of data analysts is not necessarily going to be the same framework, the same methods and approaches that work well for a team of engineers who are maintaining a website.
Correct. Every team's different. The
Right, they're
dynamics
all
within
different.
the team. Yes.
Right. And so the individuals on that team may want me to give them a checklist or a list of best practices. And I know that I can't really do that. So I try to figure out, what is one thing we could do now? And, that old saying, all models are wrong, some models are useful, right? I think that having that kind of an approach can help you craft something that will work for the organization. But if you're a company and you decide we need to have a digital transformation and we need to go agile, you can't just do it by yourself, right? You need support, you need help, maybe you need training, maybe you need a lot of training, maybe you need some work with leadership to help them understand the shifts that need to happen in the organization. And I think when a big challenge for individuals is that, like on a micro level, when I come to a team and they say, give me the best practices, it's very tempting. It's really tempting to just say, well, here's some best practices you should do right now. Because that's what they want. That's what they're asking me for. And if you're a consultant and you're working with a client and they need those things, and that's why they're paying you, then you're going to provide them, right? But like scaled agile framework, a lot of people were saying all kinds of things in my circles about it. And I said, I'm just going to go take a class on it because I like to make up my own mind about what I think about things. And I found a lot to like there. I found that one of the things they say is, you need to tailor this to your organization and you need to identify champions who can support Agile in the organization. And I think some of that might go by the wayside because there is a lot of prescriptiveness in that model also. And so organizations may see it as a list of best practices and check boxes, and we're going to do our PI planning and it's all going to be hunky-dory. But there is some depth there that I think gets overlooked. So, I think when we're deciding what kind of framework or method is going to work for us, we need to look at the context and consider what will work here. And that's hard. That's really hard. And it takes time. It's not something a consultant can just walk in instantly and say, here's what to do. Right? It's more like a doctor diagnosing a patient who has a complex illness and they need to run a whole bunch of tests to figure out what's happening, right? It's just not something you can do really quickly or simply. So I think getting away, what we try to do in our book is get away from dogma, right? Get away from sort of a missionary zeal approach to, Scrum is the answer to everything. And also accept that many of these frameworks are super valuable and that Scrum could be a really good way to start for a group, or it might be really useful for somebody to adopt Kanban, right? Mm-hmm. We're not saying those things are bad, but just that you have to have some thought about what you do and you have to include the leadership. So I'll jump ahead to the last slide because we're almost at